Assalamu alaikum. This is Huma Islam, and I'm your O Levels Islamiyat teacher. Today's topic is fasting, Psalm from P2, chapter 4, uh, from the Pillars of Islam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Now, the verse in which it was made farz, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O ye who believe, fasting is prescribed to you, as it was prescribed to those before you, that ye may learn self-restraint, Allah consciousness, basically, tattaqun taqwa, so you attain taqwa. Now it was written, it has been, kutiba means to obligate. It is written upon you, written upon you. It's not like somebody's writing all over you, but it has been ordained or made farz upon you, like it was made farz upon people before you. Every divine religion had some sort of state of fasting. But every religion's manasik are different, so ours was declared in the month of Ramadan. Now, major objectives of fasting. What is the reason for fasting? First of all, Allah has ordained it. It's a first, so we have to do it. But it also helps us becoming a better Muslim. It helps us empathizing with less fortunate people who don't have enough to eat and drink. Doing away with bad habits. If you're a cigarette smoker, or any, if you're an addict to any type of thing, it could be anything basically. And nowadays, and then it will help you wean off that. Uh, Fasting also helps us appreciate the blessings given to us by Allah. What are the blessings? Like even water during the really, really hot days of Ramadan, we realize that how valuable water is for us also. It builds social relations. How? Because you're fasting together. You usually Maghrib and Sehri is always done at the same time. You can't say, okay, I'm going to eat later. You all eat at the same time. So it builds family bonds also. And then you go for Taraweeh or social gatherings or for studying the Quran together during Ramadan, and that increases social relations also. Now, fasting also has loads of health benefits. It gives your body a rest, it detoxifies your body and your stomach ailments also. It's good for your sugar. If you're diabetic, it's good for your diabetes also. And if you have high blood pressure, it's also good for your high blood pressure too. It also gives a fresh look to your skin for all of those girls out there who are skin focused ladies. Facts. Muslims are prohibited from eating, drinking, and engaging in sexual relationships from dawn, Fajr, to sunset, Maghrib. You're not allowed to eat, drink, or get involved in any sexual relationship between a husband and wife. Muslims develop self control, gain a better understanding of God's gifts, and greater compassion towards the deprived. Because you're doing sabr throughout the day, you're thirsty, you're doing sabr. You're hungry, you're doing sabr. Why? Just for God. It helps us to understand that, okay, if Allah has given us free food, we're free to eat food whenever we wish, then this is also. Because when in the regular days, we don't really realize how blessed we are when we can have three different meals a day. And then fasting also creates compassion within your heart for those who don't afford 3 meals a day, who can only afford tea in the morning and maybe one meal in the evening. It teaches one the principle of God consciousness. In other words, tattaqoon, we adopt taqwa. We are always, because why don't we sneak and eat something? while we're fasting, because we know that Allah is watching, whether mom or dad are watching or not. So this concept of Allah's watching can be inculcated for the rest of the year also. It's a refresher's course. Consciousness of duty and the spirit of patience helps in strengthening one's faith. A person who abstains from permissible things like food and drink is likely to feel conscious of his sins. A heightened sense of spirituality helps break the habits of lying, swearing, and indecency. You know, when you're fasting, people usually don't swear. People usually don't, if they're used to watching a program that has nudity in it during Ramadan, people all refrain from such things. Benefits while fasting: you gain taqwa, you draw closer to Allah, you acquire the skill of being patient. You recognize that one can change just for the sake of Allah. You learn discipline. You refine your manners. Sensing the unity of Muslims also, because you're feeling for them and you're striving for ihsan, you're striving for doing good in the society, and you become also more charitable during the month of Ramadan. Now, fasting obligation upon who is it obligated on? Who has to fast? Person who is Muslim, who is of age, must be baligh, in other words, must attain the age of puberty. For men, for boys, the age of puberty is when they finally, the first time that they ejaculate sperm or semen, the first time that they release or discharge semen, that is when they have reached the age of puberty. And for girls, it's for when they first had their menstrual cycle, and then that is when their puberty starts. That's when namaz is also farz upon them, and then fasting is also farz upon them. Who is sane? A person who is sane. An insane person, a person who does not have a right fit mind, is not obligated to fast. Who is capable of fasting? If you have the ability. If you're so weak that you can't fast, then you would be exempted from it. Who is free of any excuse? Who is not traveling? If a person is traveling, you're allowed to skip the fast and then keep it later in the later days. Or if you're severely ill. Every adult Muslim is obliged to fast during Ramadan, but there are people who are exempted from fasting. Minor are exempted from fasting, underaged, aged people, if you are really, really old, 80 plus, or if you're very, very sick, they're exempted from fasting, but they will have to keep it or give fidya. Traveler is exempted for fast, but he has to keep the fast afterwards in other counted days. Then the pregnant woman, if she cannot fast during her pregnancy, she will not fast during her pregnancy, but when she's free from pregnancy and breastfeeding, then she will complete her fast in regular days to complete the number. Suckling women, if you are feeding your child. Menstruating women, they're exempted for fasting during the month of Ramadan, but as soon as Ramadan is over, you should try and fulfill your fast in Shawwal. If it's too hot and you can't manage, then in the winters. A mentally disabled or a mentally lesser able person would not fast. They're exempted from fasting. Should donate. Where it has a single star, an aged person should donate a meal to the needy. It is 2 meals per day for the 30 days that you give a meal to someone else it's an expiation for your fasting, because an aged person is not going to grow younger. He's going to increase in age, and it'll be difficult for him to fast. But the way you see 2 stars should fast an equivalent number of days afterwards. When the white thread is visible from the black thread. This is a picture that if you've ever been in an aeroplane at the time of sunrise Fajr, you can see this in an aeroplane. All of a sudden, a single light comes out and a fine line occurs on the horizon if you're in an aeroplane. Now, this is the time that your Fajr starts. The time of Fajr starts and when you are supposed to stop. Now, this was called, in the hadith, this was mentioned as in the verses, it's mentioned as the black thread. When will you begin your fast? When the black thread is visible when the white thread is visible from the black thread. There was a companion who, what he did was, he put one black thread and one white thread underneath his pillow, and he kept on looking at it all through the night, just based on this verse. And it was way in the morning with the sunlight out, when he said finally it became visible at this time. Then the Prophet said to him, "This it's not a visible black thread that you could see under your pillow, but it is the black thread that arises on the horizon in the earth." Uhilla lakum laylatul siyam. Allah has made halal for you the nights of the siyam of Roza. Rafatha ila nisaikum, that you can have intimacy with your women. Hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahunna. They are your clothing and you are your clothing for them. Alim Allahu annakum kuntum takhtanuna anfusakum. Allah knew that you would be doing khayanat with your nafs. In previously they were not allowed to have sexual relationships throughout the month of Ramadan, whilst fasting. But Allah has made it halal that, okay, you fast during the day, you will stay away from your wives during the day, but during the night you can be intimate with them during the night. Fataba alaykum, because one companion had a sexual relation with his wife and he was worried that, have I done something wrong? So this was the reply to that. Fataba alaykum, so Allah has forgiven you. Wa afa ankum, and He has overlooked you. Fal anu, so now bashiruhunna wabtaghu ma kataballahu lakum. Now you can, have sexual relationships with them and seek what Allah has written for you. In other words, offspring. Wakulu washrabu, and now you eat and drink. Hatta yatabayyana lakum al-khaytul abyadu min al-khaytil aswadi. Eat and drink until it becomes clear and distinct for you, the khayt, in other words, the thread, al-abyadu, of white, min al-khayt, and from the thread, al-aswadi, from the black, min al-fajr, from fajr. Thumma atimmu, and then you complete tamam, it's from tamam, then you complete as-siyam, the fasting, ila layl, up till night. Wala tubashiruhunna, and do not have sexual relationship with them. Wa antum, and you, when you are akifun in itikaf, during the days of itikaf, the last 10 days of itikaf, fizil masajid, during those days, then those are the 10 days that you are not allowed any sexual relationship if you are sitting for itikaf in the masjid. Tilka hududullah, these are the limitations of Allah. Fala taqrabuha, so don't go near them. Kadhalika, likewise, yubayyinullahu, Allah makes clear for you ayatihi, His ayat, His verses, linnasi, for mankind, la'allahum, so that you all yattaqun, you adopt taqwa. And eat and drink until the white thread of dawn becomes distinct to you from the black thread of night. Then complete the fast until the sunset. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 187. The Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, eat suhoor, for in suhoor there is blessing. Remember, when you're answering a question for the CAIEs, you have to add in quotes for your 10-mark questions. So you would add in the quote that I just, the translation of the verse, that eat and drink until the white thread becomes distinct from the black thread. And then you can also add the hadith about a companion putting the two threads underneath the pillow, if you have enough time, that is. And then the Prophet encouraging to eat suhoor, because suhoor is a blessing, and you must add it's called itikaf. He who observes the 10 days itikaf during Ramadan will obtain the reward of 2 Hajj and 2 Umrah. This is a hadith, you can add that also. O believers, you can add this: fasting is prescribed to you as it was prescribed to those before you, that you may learn self-restraint. Thank you. I hope I've helped you with the topic. Assalamu alaikum.